Hey guys, today I'm hand building a ceramic ladle. So of course, I've got my corn husks ready. What's that you say? You don't understand why I would need wet corn husks to make a ceramic ladle? Well, stay tuned, follow along, and you'll see how wet corn husks help me to create a hand-built ceramic ladle. So if you remember right, the ladle was number 10 from the Ancient Pottery Challenge forms. The Ancient Pottery Challenge, in case you didn't see that, were those 10 unique forms from the prehistoric Southwest that I'm going to make this season. And you can make the same pots, upload your pictures to Instagram with the hashtag Ancient Pottery Challenge, and then we can all follow along. And in the end, we'll go through a review of all the pots that all of us made on those 10 forms from the Ancient Pottery Challenge. So if you didn't see that video, I'll put that link to that video right up here, and you can watch that before you come back and watch this video. That way we're all on the same page here. The ladle is a pretty basic form. It's basically just a small bowl with a handle. You see, the handle can just be a coil that's attached to the bowl. But in some cases, those handles were hollow. And in some cases, those hollow handles were made to rattle. When you're making a hollow handle, it helps to form it around something. In this case, I'll form the handle around these damp, rolled up corn husks. And then in the firing, the corn husk will burn away, leaving nothing but the hollow space in there. The other thing is I want it to rattle. So I'll be putting little balls of clay inside the rolled up corn husks. So once the firing is done, those will be set free to roll around inside the handle. So let me get started on forming this coil bowl, and then I'll build the handle and we'll attach it. Okay, I've got the bowl shaped. Now I'm going to work on the handle, and then I'm going to let both of them firm up a little bit before I put them together. So I'm going to set this aside, and I'm going to put a piece of cotton cloth over it just to make sure it doesn't dry too quickly. And I'll work on the handle, and I'll come back to this. So, okay, this was surprisingly challenging. I thought that handle was going to be a walk in the park, and it was not. That may have been more challenging for me than the double pot. I'm going to let these both set here and rest for a while so that clay can firm up, less chance of it breaking before I attach the bowl and the handle. So we'll come back to this. Okay, just to catch you up, this is literally my third handle. The first one, I let it sit here and dry for a little while, came out, it had cracked. Tried to put it together, cracked some more, tore it up, started over. Built another handle, let it sit out here and dry for a little while, came back, it had cracked. So I'm struggling with ideas for why it's cracking when it dries. Perhaps it's when it's shrinking, it's not able to contract because it's got those balls in it. So I'm going to try to make one with a hollow center so that it can contract and not have any resistance. The other thing I'm thinking is that the corn husks were wet, but they were dripping wet, and that moisture is settling to the bottom inside that tube and causing the clay to lose its integrity. So these are damp, they're floppy, but they've been air drying for over an hour, so they're fairly dry. There shouldn't be any water coming off of them. And then to make the tube hollow, I am going to wrap these around a broom handle. So then I can pull the broom handle out, hopefully, and have a completely hollow core so that it can contract over it. At least that is the theory. We will see how it works. You know, as a last resort, I know that Clint Swink talks about making ladle handles in his book, Messages from the High Desert. But I really want to figure it out for myself, so I'm going to try everything I can think of before I go look in the book and see how Swink did it. Okay, so it cracked like crazy on the outside, but that I should be able to deal with this way. See? When you're forming pottery around a solid form, such as this broom handle, you never want to leave it to dry on it, because the clay will contract and the solid object will not, and it will tear itself apart. So I'm trying to make this hole wide enough not just to let air out, but hopefully I will be able to tie a string to the end of this handle later if I want to. The moment of truth, I will pull the broom out of the corn husks and hopefully have a reasonably decent handle. I'm gonna go eat some breakfast, come back, check on it, make sure it hasn't broken. And this base probably needs a little cleaning up. It's a bit sloppy where it rolled up here, but I can deal with that later. Okay, so a piece of cotton cloth to keep it from drying too rapidly, because here in Tucson that will happen. And then some time. So we'll come back in a little bit and see how it's doing. Okay, this has had time to firm up and hasn't broken or cracked at all. The bowl has firmed up. I think I'm going to attempt to attach them. Okay, now it's time for the operation, because I forgot to put the rattle in, and I just don't want that to be a thing. So I'm going to chop into the handle and add the rattle. Here's the little beads of clay I made, and I'm going to try to stuff them down that hole. Here's where I'm at with this, okay? I want the handle to dry slowly. I want this neck to dry rather quickly because it's quite damp. And I want the bowl to dry not at all, which obviously is more than I can hope for, but okay, I'm gonna want to get this slipped pretty quick. I'm still trying to smooth the handle. I'm gonna flip it over a little bit and smooth the other side. But in the meantime, I'm thinking about getting slip ready. So this is some of my red ochre that I got. and processed, and I'm going to start putting it in water so it can slake and start to hydrate so that when I'm ready for it, it's already ready to go. This is the ochre I got near the cliff dwellings. If you didn't see that video, I'll put the link up here for you. But when I collected it, I had hoped, you know, some ochres have clay-like properties so that they dry hard, they fire hard. This ochre does not. It tends to stay chalky unless it has a binder or it's polished into the surface. So I have to polish all this ochre in real good to make sure that it stays on the pot after firing. So basically, the clay is still damp, and so running the polishing stone over it presses those particles of pigment into the surface of the clay, thereby binding them together. So that's what I need to do, and I need to make sure I get it all done. Otherwise, you know, I'll have areas that are chalky and wipe off. So it's super important that I get this done. And you have to do it at just the right stage of dryness. If you do it too dry, you're not pressing it down into that moist clay, and it just scratches on the surface of the pot. If you do it too wet, you just smear it around and make tracks in the clay. So it's really at a good stage right now, and that's kind of what I've been waiting for to get this video finished up, was for this to be at the stage where I could give it a good polish and show you how I do that. Oh, it broke. There it is. A little debriefing about what went wrong here. I was in a hurry. I handled greenware sloppily, and I broke the handle off. It's just as simple as that. You know, when it's green, it is fragile, and it wasn't even fully dry. I should have been a lot more careful with it. That handle is larger than I really want, but the handle is heavy. You know, it has a lot of weight to it. So, you know, I shouldn't be handling it the way I was. I was actually in a hurry because I had things to do, and I just was careless with it. And I was heartbroken, you know. Took me a long time to be able to make this part of the video because I kind of had to come to grips with what I had done. Not that I was so attached to the pot. I was just upset with myself for having done that. I should know better. But hopefully this is something I can learn from, and maybe some of you can learn from this as well. So that is my ladle, my broken ladle. Now, my wife said, you know, I could fire it and glue it together, which I certainly could. I don't know if I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to start again. So I will redo the ladle in a future video and, you know, build on these mistakes and learn from the past. In the future, I will do it a little differently. I would really like the bowl is a little large. I'd like to have maybe a little smaller bowl and certainly a thinner handle. I think it's fine, but it's pretty beefy. So I think instead of, if I want to wrap it around a stick, you know, I think a broom handle might be a little large because that leads to quite a large handle. Maybe something a little thinner. So anyways, lessons learned. I will try this again in the future. I hope you enjoyed the video despite my failures. Perhaps this is a better video because of it. Perhaps we can all learn something together on this. If you're interested in learning more about coil pottery, I just started the Ancient Potters Club, which is a membership in which you get access to all 4 of my master classes and weekly live coil pottery building sessions. So check that out if you want. It's on my website, ancientpottery.how. If you'd like to see another video where I hand build ceramics and maybe don't break things this time, check out this video over here in which I make something and don't break it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.